Welcome to Chat TV with Betty. I have a special guest for you out there in TV land. Today I have Chef Karen Strickland-Cochran. She's been a guest on the show before, but she never ceases to amaze us with what she's going to present with us for us today. I will say thank you to our producer, Ed Groves with NASCA Networks, and also Power Up TV Network with Dr. Marcy Bryant. So I want to thank both of them, and thank you to our guest this morning. Okay, Karen, how are you, and welcome.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again. It's always fun being on this show with you, presenting.
And a special hello to our people in the background at Karen's place is, we call him Scooter. And I always like to have a shout out for Scooter. Yes, indeed. A present help,
Roman.
I would say. Yes, indeed. Always, always. So at this time, I'd like to go forward with something Karen had shared with me, a recording about a time when she decided that she was going to go ahead and use her gift that God had given her, which is being a chef. And her business is called Cakes by Karen. But Karen has expanded her gift and using her gift to show people how to cook many different dishes, including the pastries, but also cooking a full course meal as a chef. Today, Karen has something special for us. And what will you present us with today, Karen?
Today I'm making banana pudding for you guys. Actually, I'm doing a standard pudding, so that you can also utilize that pudding to make different types of pudding cups. So I decided today to do banana pudding, a little strawberries in one, and then they have this flavor from the airlines that's normally used. It's called Biscoff cookie butter, and it's a delicious cookie that they always served on the airline, so everybody know it by the airline cookie. So that's what I'm going to be doing for today. We're going to just post up the ingredients for the pudding. So it's a standard pudding. You don't have to flavor it but vanilla. But if you choose to do different flavors in there, that's fine. But if you're going to do different types of flavors with that one pudding, you always want to just use your vanilla flavoring. So you're just going to need a package of your vanilla pudding, one package of your cream cheese, whatever choice you use. They also have different types of condensed milk, just one can, and then you're going to use your Cool Whip, or you can also make your own Cool Whip, which is very flavorful. So whatever options you want to choose. You also going to need your milk. On your package, it asks for 2 cups of milk, but if you want that nice flavor and fluffiness to your pudding, you don't want to use 2 cups. I normally use like a cup and a half, and then I add my Cool Whip to that, and then that makes it more fluffier. So we're going to just get into decorating some of the cups, because I had already put my pudding together, and as you can see, it has that real light fluffiness to it. So you don't want it to be that dark yellow. If it's dark yellow when you finish, then you probably need to add more Cool Whip to that. You always want your pudding to be nice and fluffy.
Karen, on your making your pudding, you
hmm
mentioned using cream cheese. How does the cream cheese infuse with the milk and the Cool Whip when we're mixing it up? What does that do for that in the infusion part?
Well, it helps it to cream a little more, and it gives you a better texture. Also,
Mm.
the of the cream going through it with the Cool Whip, it makes it more flavorful and creamy.
Amen. And so with all of that, it does not leave, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't leave an aftertaste, in other words. And if
Oh
it
no,
does leave an aftertaste, it's a delicious aftertaste, right?
needs a good taste to it. It makes it.
Amen.
A lot of people like cream cheese, so just that extra little kick to it makes it real flavorful.
Okay. So now I'm going to let you continue to tell us what's next.
What's next? I'm going to start decorating the cups. So, like I said, you're going to add your pudding in a bowl. After that, you're going to mix up your milk, which is going to be the 1 cup or 2 cups, whatever you choose. But if you use a lot of milk, it makes your pudding kind of runny. So you don't want to use a lot of milk. That's why I prefer not using the 2 cups that the box actually asks for. I think a cup to a cup and a half is good because you're adding your Cool Whip. And Cool Whip is also like a liquid. So, you're going to have your liquid in there. It's just that when you're using more of the Cool Whip versus your milk, is making it a little more fluffier, and it also helps take away that darkness to your puddings. So you always want to go with a light color pudding.
Mhm. There's some
Yeah.
cohesiveness in there with the Cool Whip and the condensed, not condensed, but the milk, as well as the
Mm,
cream cheese. So the cohesiveness is there for all
yeah,
of them to love each other and to infuse for that creamy texture.
that's exactly what
Wow, thank you.
your creamy texture. You don't want a heavy pudding at all.
Mhm.
So it'll uh, give it that creamy texture.
Now you're going to fill the cup.
Yes. Now we're going to put your cups together. Now, these are the cups that I normally use for a nice, elegant party. These are like the 3-ounce cups. And these cups is just like a sample almost, but just a little more so you can be able to taste everything. So, when I'm combining the cups, you always want to coat your cups with your cookie crumble, whatever crumble that you use. So, right now, I'm going to do the banana pudding. So, the first thing I want to do is crumble your cookie at the bottom. Once you get that crumble at the bottom, you want to put a little syrup, and I like to use caramel syrup to like coat the bottom part of your cookie. And what that do also helps with decorating. It gives it that nice elegant look once you put your pudding on the inside of there. So once you coat that, you want to scoop a little bit of your pudding in your cup, and it gets a little messy, so just be prepared for a little mess. And once you put your pudding inside, you want to cut up your bananas, which I just cut it a couple of bananas up. And since they're small cups, you want to make sure you kind of cut them really small so they can be able to fit in there well. Now, also, when I do my banana, I always like to add just a little dash of sugar because sometimes, some of the bananas don't be right and it has that tardiness to there. So you want to have a little sweetness to there. So you just want to mix that up, a little dash of sugar, and that give it a little flavor as well. And that is your next layer that you're adding in your cup. So far you have your cookie crumble, you have your syrup, you have your pudding, then you have a little banana on top. And then you want to go back to your cookie and do your next layer, which is going to be cookies again. So you want to smash
So
the
it's
cup. So you want to
with a question, you've given us the the ingredients thus far that you've put on top of each other and you've layered. So when we come back from the commercial, I would assume that you're going to finish telling us how this just ought to taste and how it's going to look, as you said, for those special occasions that you're doing for so many groups of people, birthdays, wings, all of your decorations that you put out there, and your baked goods and your pastries, whether they're cold pastries or warm, you put so many different ones on that dessert table that people get confused about what they should choose to taste first. So, in coming back, I'm sure we're going to get right back into it. But tell us a little bit about the history of you making a banana pudding cup
Oh
for
wow.
your
My
group.
used to love banana pudding, but back then when I used to make that for her, I used to make the homemade pudding, the old fashioned pudding, not with the box. So she loved that. Everything that I learned when I was younger was from scratch. So that type of pudding was the pudding I was learning to do. So, but nowadays people just geared to the box product. So this is what they like more. So this is what I give them. But I prefer doing everything from scratch. But this is a quick party item that you can do anytime for any occasion. So this is what's going on now in the world as far as banana.
And the groups that you service today, a lot of times they're more than 10 people. So I can understand you using the box products so that you can have the production quantity that you need, but at the same time, quality in the food that you serve.
Yes, the quality is everything in presentation. You always want everything, no matter what you make, constant. You always want to make sure your flavors is basically the same because that's what the people want. If you're doing a taste test somewhere and then you switch up your products, um, then your flavors is going to kind of not be the same, and people will notice that. So you want to constantly keep your ingredients the same, so your flavors can all be so tasteful, and people is just out there talking about them, and work everything as well. So you don't want anything bad, about your products, because you have a product, you just stay steady with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So out there in TV land, we'd like for you to come back, join us and see what the finished product looks like. Then we're going to dive into some of this absolute delicious dessert and how it came about as a therapeutic, um, I would say, thing for Candy when at one time she was at her grieving point, but yet God helped her to go through with her baking goods. Join us right back here on Chat TV.
If you want to brand or be a guest, contact Betty at 443-993-1811 or watersdon'tstress@outlook.com. See disclaimer at the end of the program.
Welcome back to Chat TV with Betty. We have a special guest who's been cooking up and putting together a special dessert for us today. A gifted woman of God that she is. She's going to show us something today that can be used for all occasions, I would say. Weddings, birthday parties. Children can fix this dessert as well, of course, with um, some guidance from adults. But this dessert here, I will say, is a delectable and also beautiful gift. There's quality in taste to the palate. So, Karen, come back to us and tell us what you've added thus far. And then we're going to talk about how therapeutic this is for others who may be going through some stressful points in their life.
Yes,
Amen.
I'm
Mhm.
actually doing a mixture of different varieties of dessert cups. These are used for any occasion. A lot of people like to use them for weddings because they almost like little sample cups, but they're so flavorful that you're going to want more than one. So today I am just doing a sample of different varieties that you can do with one type of pudding, vanilla pudding. So I had already mixed up the pudding. The ingredients will be posted so you guys can see what goes in and what you can take out that you don't use. You can also substitute. So if you subscribe to my channel or go on Facebook and follow me, you can see different recipes and ingredients for some things. So this one here, I had already did the banana pudding. And right now I'm doing just some different cups, which is going to be some pudding with some fresh strawberries, and then I'm going to do the Biscoff flavor because a lot of people love the Biscoff from the airplane cookie. So what I'm doing now, I am adding the pudding because I already put the crumble of the flavor type of cup in there. So we have this one here is the Biscoff. You have your cookie crumble at the bottom, and then you have your Biscoff syrup, which is almost like a peanut butter. So you want to melt that down so you'll be able to do the drizzle with that. This one here, we have some strawberry crumble. If you ever had that Good Humor popsicle, this is it right here. It tastes just like the Good Humor popsicle, the crumble. So once you do that, you're going to just add your different syrups in there and your pudding, and that is some of the toppings. You can make your own syrup or you can use store-bought. Simple way to do some of these cups. You can do the store, but I like natural flavor, so I can also put the capture in for some strawberry home glaze. That's what I like, homemade glaze. So we already have our pudding in there. And then for our strawberry one, you want to cut up some fresh strawberries and put in there. Now with me, I don't like that tardiness. So a lot of times I like to add a little dash of sugar to give that sweetness. And also sugar also makes a syrup too. So you end up having your own syrup in there eventually. I like to
Right.
do everything with my hand.
Oh, good. So everything infuses like you said, the sugar makes its own syrup, and then one who wants to make these pudding cups for
Mm-hmm.
individual serving, they can put in there basically most any type of berry fruit, like a cherry, for instance, a blueberry, maybe a raspberry. Is that true? They can
Yes,
put
any
that
kind
on the
of flavor,
bottom if they want.
any kind. That's the reason why you do a basic pudding because you can switch up. You don't have to use if you put banana flavor in your pudding, then and you want to make strawberry and Biscoff, then now your pudding is just tasting like banana. So you want to do a basic pudding like a vanilla, and then with that way you can always switch up your different cups. You know what I mean? So if you're
Made a
you're
big
out there,
batch of pudding. Yes. Hmm.
if you're out
And so
there
that
and need to do a different type of cup other than banana pudding, then you
mhm,
don't have to, remaking pudding because you have a standard pudding there that you can use for all different flavors.
these puddings are beginning to make my mouth water.
Hmm.
You're there, and boy, and that looks delicious. I'll tell you, three
They are
different
delicious.
kinds, and they're inviting to my palate. Certainly are. Look so delicious.
They
Yes.
are
Now,
delicious.
how long will these last in the refrigerator,
Um,
Karen? If
when you're making, especially banana pudding, the bananas, once you start opening up your banana, it starts expiring. I mean, your flavor is good, for about 3 days, but your coloring change quickly with bananas. So it depends on what you're using. But normally a cup, I would say 3 to 4 days, they can stay in the refrigerator. Sometimes longer, but I wouldn't go past 3 days, especially with bananas, because you will get that yucky flavor. It will switch up on you. So I would be careful with that. So it basically
okay.
depends. It
So,
depends.
so let's talk about the expertise of dealing with food. Now, we're talking scripturally. It says that the biblical definition of food is something that nourishes, sustains, or supplies energy and vitality. Um, and so let's go back and talk about a time when there was trouble going on in your life, unexpected trauma, and you experienced that trauma, but out of that experience was born this great chef. Well, she was already a good chef with her, I believe you said your grandmama or your mom, in the beginning from a child. But when she grew up, her gift was just laying there, waiting for her to present it to the nation, I would say, because you've grown so much from that experience to now. So tell us a little bit about you loving to learn from your elders how to cook, and then taking your gift, your experience with your elders, and using your gift as a therapeutic form of coping for a time that was, as I said, not expected, very traumatic, but yet still God had something for you to do with the gift that he gave you. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about.
Well, back in 2013, my daughter, she passed in her sleep, and uh, that was a rough time for me, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. I just stayed in the kitchen a lot because once she passed, I had took my grandson, and he used to love my sweets so much when he used to come visit. So, I would just be in the kitchen with him, cooking different meals and just creating different things. And then I started, baking a little more. And it just, I just stayed in the kitchen a lot. So um, it was a tragic for me, but it turned out something positive. Out of that, I picked my skill up a little more. I started posting. People was enjoying it, and they were, cheering me on, with the products I was posting, and they was just making me feel good. A lot of them didn't even know, the reason why I stayed in the kitchen so much and did so much in the kitchen. Um, so I started posting some of them, and they were like, "Oh, you selling those?" I was like, "No, no, but you can come try them out. You can come have a slice here and there. I'll fix your plate." Um, so, I started posting more, and then people was like, "I'll buy that." So I posted one banana pudding, and I was like, I have this cake here, if anybody want to buy it and try it out, let me know. And I was getting inboxes for it. So the first person that purchased my cake went on Facebook and talked about my cake. And then I started getting orders from there for that banana pudding cake. after that, I started doing different other types of cake and posting, and I was doing it on the weekends, just baking when I got home from work. On Friday evenings, I would start baking. So it started off a weekend thing, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then it started whereas though people wanted me to start decorating and doing dishes for their parties. And so I took on that responsibility because I love I love when someone enjoys my recipes. So I started selling a little more, and it just kind of took off where every day I came home from work, I had to do an order for somebody. And 2 years ago, um, my job, wasn't there for me any longer because of my situation with my grandson. So, I left there working 15 years, but, I didn't look back because when I woke up that next day, I had 3 orders that took care whatever I made per day there. So it didn't even matter,
Mm.
I had my back. So I prayed on that,
Amen.
and I had no worries because I already knew who had my back.
Amen. So that leads me to talk a little bit about Matthew 11:28. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and
Hmm.
I will give you rest." And in all of that, loving to bake your comfort zone, creativity, and then getting feedback from folks who would see your posting started to relieve you. And then your creativity just sparkled. And there she was. Tell us about this. We have about 5 seconds to tell us about the desserts that you finished for us. Show them off now, Karen.
So right here we have the banana pudding, and I also did a sample of a decoration on there because they are so cute and they are ready for some parties. So we already have our Biscoff here. As soon as I can get this out of here, I'm going to put a little syrup on that one.
Mm-hmm. Looks so
And
good.
certain serves, if you have to put them in the microwave, they they will hard up quickly. So you got to do your drizzles and get those out the way. But basically, they're done as far as decoration. And also, I like to stick a little spoon or a fork in there for guests.
Yes.
So we have our strawberry shortcake here, and we have our Biscoff cookie butter.
Yes.
And like I said, I like to go a little above and beyond and top them with a little decoration. Now, this right here that I'm putting on, these are icings. They're just hardened, so they're good for decorations, and you can find those at stores. Just
Mhm.
decorations for cupcakes, and there you go. There's your treats, and these are ready
Three
for party. We got
three
three
different delicious.
treat,
Yes.
one
It's
type of pudding,
good.
and that's all you need is one type of pudding, and you can be creative with whatever you want. So whatever your flavors is, there you go.
All right. Thank you so much, Cakes by Karen. Listen, you want to get in contact with Karen and you want to find out where, when you're wanting to have a group of people come and learn how to make these desserts, contact Karen. If you want her recipes, contact Karen. I'm telling you, she will not fail you, and the desserts will be delicious. Your
Mm,
guests at whatever and for whatever occasion will certainly enjoy, and they will come back. All right.
yes.
Thank you out there in TV land. Join us again for Chat TV with Betty and our special guest, Karen. We thank you once again.